War heroes will not be left behind. An assurance from the President.
Sajjan Gunawardena remanded until the 5th of July.
Prime Minister names a special committee to deal with the aftermath of Brexit. State Minister of Finance calls on the Governor of the Central Bank to step down from the committee.
There's plentiful evidence to warrant the sacking of the Governor of the Central Bank, a statement by the former chairman of CORP.
කිසිම දෙයක් බලන්න IMF එකේ report එක මෑති මෙයා දොට්ට දාන්න අනිත් කිසිම දෙයක් කරක් නැහැ.
Hello there, very good evening and welcome to our primetime news bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Jitendra Gunasena. Let's now take a look at the local stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena has reiterated that no soldier will be left behind. The president made this statement at a ceremony to mark the distribution of Virusaru cards to soldiers, which was held under the second phase of the Virusaru program.
The ceremony was held at the Rajarata Vidyalaya in Hingurangoda this afternoon. Virusara cards were presented to military personnel, policemen, civil defence force personnel and families of fallen war heroes who served between 1983 and 2009. 300,000 personnel were presented with the cards. The recipients of the Virusara cards are granted access to 55 services provided by the public and private sectors.
We do not leave any retired or serving soldier behind. Our policy aims to strengthen them. We work towards finding a solution for all the soldiers who are enduring issues in their private and public lives. A 2-day mobile service program will be launched over the next month in Polonnaruwa, where military families will be able to present their grievances. Our responsibility as the government is to fulfill our duties and responsibilities. We will fulfill our responsibility to those who made sacrifices for our nation and endured many losses, and for those who are still in service to our utmost capability without any shortcomings.
The President also presented housing loans to soldiers from the North Central Province.
As mentioned in your headlines tonight, former MP Sajjan Gunawardena has been remanded until the 5th of July. Gunawardena was arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department this afternoon and produced before Colombo Magistrate Gihan Pilapitiya.
Former MP Sajjan Gunawardena has been accused of an offence under the Money Laundering Act. The CID informed the magistrate today that there was a contrast between responses provided by the former MP and the results of investigations into his bank accounts. Furthermore, the CID noted that when questioned, Gunawardena failed to reveal how he received a total of 610 million rupees into his bank accounts. It was also reported to court that the suspect is not cooperating with the investigation. However, lawyers representing the former MP said that their client had been subjected to questioning on several occasions and that their client has provided all the necessary documents requested by the CID. His attorneys added that this makes it evident that the CID is keeping their client in remand custody until they can uncover an offence committed by him.
In the meantime, the case pertaining to the 2009 assassination of journalist Lasantha Wickramatunge was taken up at the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court today.
As per request made by the Criminal Investigations Department at the previous hearing of the case, clarifications were sought today from military intelligence and the command regiment. The magistrate ordered today that a report on the progress of the investigation and relevant information be submitted to court on the 12th of July. The case was postponed until the 4th of August. The CID took steps to submit the results of the success of the investigation carried out by them. We informed court on behalf of the Army Commander that we would cooperate fully. It became evident that there are difficulties with locating certain documents, but it was pointed out that the Army Commander would not shy away from this responsibility, that a separate case file has been opened and investigations are being headed by a Major General. A definite time frame has been set. A report must be submitted immediately within the month of July, and we noted that we are able to do so. We also submitted before court today on behalf of the Army Commander that if there are persons in the Army who are accountable for this, then immediate steps would be taken with regard to them.
In more court-related news, former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa gave evidence in court today when the case pertaining to the 1st December 2006 bomb attack at the Pittala Junction in Colombo was taken up in court. The case was taken up before Judge Irangani Pereira at the Special High Court.
Giving evidence in court today, Gotabaya Rajapaksa noted that the incident occurred while he was en route to a meeting of the Security Council at Temple Trees, accompanied by a security convoy comprising of 2 defenders and 3 motorcycles. He noted that when the explosion occurred at the Pittala Junction, one of the members of his security detail was in front of his vehicle, while there were 2 more on either side of the vehicle. Rajapaksa added that there were soldiers in both defenders. He stated that he heard a loud explosion in the Pittala Junction and that he witnessed that the motorcycle in front of his vehicle was on fire. He noted that while the doors of the bulletproof car could not be opened, the soldiers travelling in the defenders had removed the doors to extricate him from the vehicle. The former Defence Secretary noted that he was later informed that 2 of the officers on motorcycles and the driver of one of the defenders had been killed while 9 soldiers were injured. However, he noted that the soldiers in the defender had taken him to Temple Trees. This is the first time they recorded evidence from me for the case. I'm unclear about the government's stance on terrorists. They should decide on it. I have not received any such official invitation. After I left the position of Defence Secretary, the President and the Prime Minister provided army security to me. I still believe that I am a threat and a target. Therefore, I request the Defence Secretary to provide army security for me.
After the exit of the United Kingdom from the European Union, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has appointed a committee to formulate a report on how Sri Lanka can deepen ties with Asia.
According to print media, the committee has been appointed by the Prime Minister after a report compiled by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka was handed over to him on the 25th of this month. The report consists details of the impact Brexit or the exit of the UK from the EU has on the country. The committee comprises of Senior Advisor to the Prime Minister Charitha Ratwatta, Advisor to the Ministry of National Policy R. Paskaralingam, Economist Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, Dr. Saman Kallegama, Professor Sirimala Aberatna, Dr. Nishan Dimel, Chief Economist at the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce Anushka Vijayasinghe, Murtasar Jafarji, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Arjuna Mahendran.
State Minister of Finance Lakshman Abewardena has called on the Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran to step down from the committee appointed by the Prime Minister.
He has submitted a letter noting that he is temporarily stepping down from his position. This is a committee that was appointed prior to this, so he now has a responsibility to step down from the committee too. He should step down, and when he is acquitted, he can go wherever he wants. He should act in a way that upholds the respect of that position and the respect of the President and the Prime Minister.
Still in local news, several leftist parties convened a joint media briefing in Colombo today.
I was also the chairman of the COPE committee for 5 years. That is the reason why I worked independently. I did not allow the President or the Prime Minister to meddle with the business of COPE. I have even chased away the ministers who wanted to talk about it. I was the one who initiated investigations into the first bond issuance. The report which was compiled still remains, however, it is not valid. You can actually use it given that it is comprised of 449 pages with 40 different pieces of evidence given by people upon swearing on the Bible. They prevented that from being tabled in Parliament, but now they are attempting to prevent it from being distributed even after it has been added on the order paper. The Prime Minister has politicized things for 20 years.
Gunasekara also had this to say on the matter.
The conduct of the governor is a good enough reason to refrain from reappointing him to the position. I have never seen a governor before who was spoken about in this way at press conferences. He has visited all the houses to say that he is not guilty. He doesn't have a right to do that. After a bank transaction has occurred and after it is published, information on the parties involved and how much they bid does not have to be a secret. There are only 16 companies that participated. There is no one else. One of the 16 is his son-in-law. This is the information that Chandrachar Ratna wanted. Tell me who wanted it. They refused. They said it was a secret. The central bank is a sacred place that provides guidance for all banks and steers monetary policy. So the person who heads it must be free from even a shred of suspicion or doubt. You do not need anything else. The IMF report alone is proof enough to show him the door. I state with responsibility to the President, you are the one who makes this appointment, not the Prime Minister. Look at the IMF country report issued on the 8th of June. That is enough. You do not need anything else.
Mass frustration with elected representatives has become a common theme that has been highlighted to us throughout the Newsfirst Think Again campaign.
The campaign, which encourages a discourse among the public on civic responsibility and encourages the citizenry to review their decisions at the ballot box, got underway in the Kekol, Padula and Trincomalee districts today.
The Kekol district commenced the Think Again campaign at the Siri Sila Vimana Vihara in Doravaka.
යලි සිතන්න කියන වැඩසටහන් තුලින් ගමෙන් යන ගමේ නියෝජිතයා ගමට සේවය කළ යුතුයි ගමේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න ගැටලු හඳුනාගෙන ඒවට පිළියම් සෙවිය යුතුයි කියන කාරණේ නැවත වතාවක් ඔහුට ඡන්දෙදි මතක් වෙලා අපි ළඟට පැමිණෙනවා නම් නැවත අපි ඒක අමතක කරලා කතරේ ගහනවා නම් මම හිතන්නේ ඒක අපි දෙගොල්ලම කරගන්න ලොකු මෝඩකමක් හැටියට මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ දකිනවා.
The people of Doravaka went to the polling station last year anticipating that their village would be developed. The Madini road is dilapidated. There is a conflict because there are two governments. I am unable to decide how to use my vote next time. People of Pathabaga too expressed frustration over broken promises.
පාරවල කොන්ක්‍රීට් කරලා ඌ ඇරෙන්න ඉතින් මේ වෙනවා මෙන්න ලැබු සෙලක් වෙලා නැහැ නේ බලාපොරොත්තු කොන්ක්‍රීට් කරන එකනුත් කරන්නේ මේ මිනිස්සුම මුදල් අනුමත කළා ඒගොල්ලෝම කොන්ත්‍රාත් අරගෙන ඒගොල්ලෝම වැඩ කරලා ඉතින් මොන හරි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ආර්ථික ලාභෙ පිස කරනවා නිසා මට හිතන්න බෑ ඉතින් ඒක විශේෂ බලාපොරොත්තු වීමක් නැහැ ඉතින් අපිට අර ගමටවත් 100ක් වෙනවා නම් තමයි ඉතින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ.
Our team visited areas including Warakapola, Madeniya, Udabage, Ganegama and Yakdehimulla where the citizenry echoed their sentiments. Another team worked off the Think Again campaign in the Padula district today. A major grievance that was highlighted here was the loss of the land in the Thepalkanda area due to the threat of landslides.
The UN peers, the SLF peers and the JV peers come here looking for our votes. They canvass for votes while promising to give us various things and build various things. But all this time we have received nothing.
The team also met with the community of plantation workers from the Craig estate. Their primary grievance was low daily wage.
අද ඡන්ද ගන්න මොන හරි ගුණ්ඩුවක් දාලා මොන හරි කරලා දෙනන්නනේ බලන්න ඉලෙක්ෂන් කිට් වෙනකොට මොන හරි දෙයක් කරලා පෙන්නලා ඡන්ද ගන්න තමයි බලන්නේ ඡන්ද ඉල්ලනකොට තමයි මූණේ පේන්නේ අනිත් දවසේ මූණ ආයි ටීවී එකේ අපි බලන්නේ ඡන්ද එනකොට අම්මා අපිට ජනතාවට කියනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ මූණ උදව කරලා දෙන්න කියනවා ඊට පස්සේ ඒකල මෙතනට එන මිනිස්සු ආයි අපි ටීවී එකේ අපි මෙහෙම බලාගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ මෙයා තමයි අපිට එක්කේ කියලා.
People residing below St. Thomas's Road in Bandaravela are facing major inconvenience in their day-to-day lives due to improper waste management.
සභාවේ මේ කුණු ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි අපිට තියෙන්නේ මේ කුණු ටික අස් කරලා දෙන්න තමයි අපි ඉල්ලන්නේ අපි මේ වෙනතෙක්ම අපි චමින්ද විජේසිරි මැතිතුමාටත් අපි දැනුවත් කරා මේ වෙනතෙක්ම අපිට කිසිම ප්‍රතිචාරයක් නැහැ.
The shoe bridge in Hapatgamo bears testament to 41 years of broken political promises.
ඡන්දේ කිට්ටු වෙනකොට මේ කාලේ වෙනකොට කොහොම හරි 500 වතාවක් විතර මේ මැනලා ඇති. ඒ වුණාට කවදාවත් මේ වැඩි කෙරුන්නේ නැහැ. අනිත් එක මේ දැන් ඡන්ද කාලෙට ගල් වැලි ගෙනත් දානවා. ඡන්දය ඉවරුණු ගමන් ආපහු ගෙනියනවා.
65 acres of farmland in the village of Bandaragama in Atampitiya are overgrown with weeds as a result of another broken political promise. The anicut located above the village is yet to be repaired, and 750 families who are dependent on agriculture cannot find water for their crops.
හරිගස්සලා දෙනවා කියලා පොරොන්දු වුණා. ඒ වුණාට තවම ඒක ක්‍රියාත්මක වුණේ නැහැ. ඒක මේ මුදල් පාස් වෙලා තියෙනවා කියනවා. ඉතින් ඒ වුණාට තවම ඒක පිළිසතර කරන්න කිසිම ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් අරගෙන නැහැ තාම.
Our team in the Trincomalee district commenced today's campaign following religious observances at the Thirukoneshwaram Kovil. Our team met with communities in several parts of the district, including Tambalagamuwa, Mullipatana and Kantale. The Newsfirst Think Again public service initiative, which is promoting an awakening among Sri Lanka's citizenry, will get underway tomorrow as well. The government is like a baby's alimentary canal, with a happy appetite at one end and no responsibility at the other. Ronald Reagan, former US President.
Up next is Action TV.
A 500-meter section of the road from Nochiagama to Oyamaduwa that was carpeted during the Theatrical exhibition in Oyamaduwa, Anuradhapura in 2012 is now in a sorry state. A strongman in the province who, together with the Provincial Road Development Authority, under the guise of renovating roads in the Anuradhapura district for the Theatrical exhibition, had committed frauds. The then government had withheld the payment of 2,500 million rupees for the renovation work and, following an inquiry, suspended the services of the general manager of the Provincial Road Development Authority. The person who was thereafter appointed to the position came under immense pressure exerted by the Good Governance government. He demanded that the payment of 2,500 million rupees withheld by the previous government be paid to the contractors and retired from his position after making a payment of 1,382 million rupees of the 2,500 million rupees to the contractors. The contractor who renovated a section of the road that is now in a dilapidated state following the recent floods in Anuradhapura was incidentally one of the contractors who was paid a sum from the 1,382 million rupees. The person appointed as the acting general manager of the Provincial Road Development Authority by officials of the North Central Province is the person who worked as the engineer responsible to oversee the renovation of the road. Inquiries conducted so far have confirmed that the individual had not followed proper procedures to ensure the minimum standard was maintained when renovating the roads during the Theatrical exhibition in 2012. The inquiries also confirm that the person who has a large number of charges levelled against him for the substandard road work is not the former general manager who was suspended, but his second in command, who is the current acting general manager of the Provincial Road Development Authority. It should also be noted that the acting general manager has not paid the remaining 1,318 million rupees due to contractors, despite the pressure exerted to do so by a powerful politician in the district. Plans are underway to reinstate the suspended general manager, while a decision has already been made to appoint the current acting general manager to the post of chief engineer of the North Central Province. Shouldn't action be taken against these two individuals for the substandard renovation of this road that is now in a dilapidated condition, instead of handing them positions and promotions? Minister of Highways and Higher Education, this is over to you.
The foundation stone was laid today for the first middle-class housing complex that will be constructed under the Samata Sevana program. Minister of Housing and Construction Sajith Premadasa presided at the ceremony.
The foundation stone for the new housing project was laid on the allocated plot of land near the Vadur railway station in Panadura. Deputy Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ajit P. Pereira was also present at the event.
අද කතා කරනවා රාජ්‍ය බදු ප්‍රතිපත්තිය ගැන.
They are speaking of the government's tax policy today, but in the past they imposed taxes without even seeking the approval of parliament. They arbitrarily imposed taxes. What is the change between the present and the past? The current government also had a tax policy, but we are not imposing taxes to sustain the livelihoods of Sirisena families. We are not doing it to sustain the livelihoods of Premadasa families. My friends, our tax policy has been implemented in order for us to spend more money on education and health, to spend more on housing. Today's tax policy has been implemented to sustain the people's lives. We will not for any reason work to protect a family dynasty.
ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ මිනිසා ජීවත් කරවන්න. මොනම හේතුවකටවත් පෞල් පරපුරක් සුරකින්නට අපි කටයුතු කරන්නේ.
MP Rohit Abekarawatana, who was receiving treatment at a private hospital subsequent to being injured during a protest, was discharged this morning.
MP Rohit Abegunawardena was injured after a barrier fell on him during a tense situation that broke out during a protest in Colombo on Friday. The MP was later admitted to a private hospital in Colombo for treatment. Abegunawardena received in-house treatment over a period of 3 days and was discharged this morning.
This happened because of the barricades that were erected, thinking that parliamentarians were similar to terrorists. We don't blame the police. The policemen are innocent at this point of time. Just because we shed a drop of blood, we will not stop the efforts of the government to destroy the country. Rohit Abegunawardena will not be affected by such occurrences. These attempts do not weaken us, but makes us even stronger.
Health officials state that the high density of mosquitoes, according to the Brito Index, has been recorded from Sri Lanka. According to experts, this represents an epidemic.
Experts suggest that if the Brito Index, which measures the density of mosquitoes in a certain area, shows a value higher than 15 units, that can be considered as a high epidemic level. The value in the Brito Index in certain parts of the country is between 30 and 35.
Entomology studies confirm that the Brito Index is gradually increasing. The amount of containers and canisters that were left after the floods were very high. Since these containers were filled with water, the Brito Index increased exponentially. As a result, dengue is on the rise again. There have been 20,000 cases reported as a result, and more than 31 deaths have also been reported.
The Health Entomology Science Officers Association says that steps have been taken to deploy teams to areas with a high density of mosquitoes to inspect them. Fumigation was done in a number of areas that come under the purview of the Colombo Municipal Council.
They carry out fumigations. The other people are also just following them. This will not be a solution. Take a look at that canal. Who will look into this? The individuals buy and leave these lands. The people living in the vicinity dump the garbage in that land. That is the reason for the mosquitoes to breed. 6 children succumb to dengue on our street. There are another 6 in the hospital.
The Ministry of Health says that 60 teams have been deployed to fumigate the areas where a high number of dengue patients have been reported. The health authorities remind the public to seek medical attention if fever persists for more than 2 days.
The symptoms are similar to the symptoms of viral fever. Fever, headaches and bodily aches are the common symptoms. If the fever persists for more than 2 days, it is important to obtain a full blood count test on the 3rd day. After showing the report to the doctor, it is important to get hospitalized if needed. On rare occasions, there could be a condition where this is internal hemorrhaging or excretion of plasma. If such symptoms are seen at home, that person should be hospitalized. If a person is weak, if a person is sleepy, and if the person has a stomachache or increase in pulse and the reduction in the passing of urine, that person should be hospitalized immediately.
Newsfirst also made inquiries from the Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government.
The Ministry of Provincial Councils and Local Government is extending its fullest support to the National Dengue Eradication Programme. We have also instructed all local councils to coordinate resources and labour to ensure the success of this programme and to ensure its progress. We have seen an increase in dengue mosquitoes breeding grounds at construction sites and neglect of steps to be taken to prevent dengue. I have instructed all local councils to cease plans for such constructions if there is such a situation and to move towards the goal of eradicating dengue.
Dehiwala Divisional Coordination Committee meeting was held under the auspices of Minister Faiza Mustafa today.
All public officers were present at the meeting, which was held at the Dehiwala Divisional Secretariat. Special attention was drawn towards mitigating the spread of dengue through the dengue eradication program. Extensive discussions were held on illegal squatters and illegal land acquisition along the coastline, which comes under the purview of the Dehiwala Divisional Secretariat.
We will look into alternate steps for the occupants who have illegally acquired state lands. However, we will not allow the acquisition of these lands. There were only 2 illegal owners of these lands at the beginning, and now 10 more have joined them. Legal action should be taken against 12 of them. If not, we will have to go for an instant solution determining how exactly they can be removed. Some were given trade licenses without the permission of the Coast Conservation Department. That is also a fault. I don't know why it was done. We have permitted illegal establishments by giving away others. Just because the government provided electricity and water to an establishment, that doesn't make it legal, does it? There should be legal action taken against those who have provided electricity and water. How can an assessment number be given to people who don't even have a legal deed? Tomorrow I will acquire state-owned land by force. Will they give me an assessment number by default? Which means, according to your knowledge and understanding, I will go to the sea and acquire a piece of land there, and I will come to you and tell you about it, and you will eventually grant me the land.
Meanwhile, the media questioned the minister on the conclusion of the official terms of all local government bodies on the 30th of this month.
I have been constantly making statements saying that the official term for 30 local government bodies will conclude on the 30th of this month. I will make a decision on this following discussions with the President and the Prime Minister.
On to some sports news now. Royal College Colombo out-muscled Wesley College Colombo today to reach the semi-finals of the school's Under-20 President's Knockout Trophy Rugby Tournament. The Royalists defeated the Wesleyites 29-21. The match was worked off today at the Royal College Sports Complex Rugby Ground. At Lemons, the lads from Reed Avenue were leading 17 points to 6. The Wesleyites attempted a comeback in the second half, putting 15 points on the board, but the Royalists held them at bay, adding 12 more points.
And well, that's a wrap of primetime news for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jitendra Gunasena.
And I'm Shren Silva. Take care and good night.